Okay, today we're going to take a look at footwork on the forehand side and how that impacts your swing, whether it's closed stance or open stance. Open stance, as you can see here, I'm hitting the ball back towards my back foot. Closed stance, I'm hitting the ball off my front foot. So there I'm hitting the ball. That would be off open stance. That is closed stance. That was just kind of adjusting to a ball, but basically there's a lot of differences that these types of swings and the footwork has on your actual swing and what type of shot you're hitting. So there you can see that was a good example that I was really stepping in and getting weight transfer into my shot, hitting it off my front foot. So that means I'm hitting the ball towards my left foot, which for a lot of people when they're starting will allow them to hit the ball straighter, because sometimes when people go in with their right foot on their forehand for right-handed players, so going in open stance, they don't go parallel to the side wall, so they go in and everything is very open, and then they tend to either hit the ball loose or they just want to go cross court. So learning how to hit the ball off your front foot, closed stance on your forehand side will allow you to learn how to hit the ball straighter. But one of the tricks is that, so because again, this is building off my post the other day, because I'm right-handed here, my arm's on the back side, so my arm is actually off my back leg. I'm hitting the ball off my front leg, so yeah, I'm going to get more power. I should be able to hit the ball straighter, but my swing, it's very hard to have your swing going straight through that contact zone when it's off your left foot, because naturally your swing wants to start to finish and kind of have that rotation. So I think at a beginner intermediate level and even like an advanced level, it's going to be easier to hit the ball straight when you're stepping in with that left leg, but it's usually for more power. You're not going to be as quick getting back to the tee, but it's actually, I find it still kind of difficult to keep that swing straight there because it is so far in front of my right shoulder. So hopefully that makes sense for that. So open stance, you can see here I'm hitting the ball back on my right foot, and that means that I'm not going to actually get my weight transferred towards the front wall, because my weight transferred is into my back foot here. So I've right now just stepped in there, so I'm not necessarily getting my weight and momentum moving forward. So if you think about maybe a baseball pitcher, they're always striding forwards off the pitcher mound because they're getting all their momentum moving forwards towards home plate, because they put their body weight, that helps them generate a lot of power. So this would be like if a pitcher basically stepped sideways and they didn't actually use their momentum of their body weight into their pitch, so they wouldn't get a lot of power with it. But in squash, when we're doing this is going to be a way where you can see that my swing hasn't started arcing yet, because I'm hitting the ball deeper into my footwork, so back onto the right foot. So for that part, it's generally easier. But again, what I mentioned earlier is a lot of people, when they go in, they're going to play that ball open stance, they approach the ball too open, so they don't actually hear. So even though I'm hitting off my right foot, my belly button is facing the side wall, my nose is facing the side wall, my toes are facing the side wall. So I'm parallel to the side wall, which means that I'm going to keep that ball, probably straightish. I just won't get as much power. So that's where I think a lot of people that I've worked with, beginners, intermediate players, they go to hit open stance forehand, and they're basically, their nose, their belly button, their toes are all facing forwards towards the front wall, or maybe, further up on the side wall. And that's going to lead to a drive being loose, or just them hitting a cross-court shot. So it does make a big difference whether you're hitting open or closed stance for how much power you can get, how straight you can hit the ball, but they both have their own challenges in their own way to hit that ball straight, right? And again, here you can see that I've done a good job here. My hips are square at contact, my toes are facing the side wall. I know some people like to have them actually facing the back corner, but it's a tricky one for me. That's what I'd say, because then you don't have that option at cross court. So I thought that would be interesting. I guess I'd say last point here is that the movement is going to be a lot different back to the tee and into the corner depending on which footwork you're hitting with. So here, closed stance, I'm more solid over top of the ball. I'm going to be more stable. I'm going to get more power, but it's slower to clear. So I find when I swing like this, my momentum is almost non-existent for getting back to the tee. And you need to get both your feet right into the corner. Whereas when you're playing open stance, you can naturally, that's not the best footwork. I'm a little bit too upright here, a little bit close, but I was just solo hitting. But when I'm hitting open stance, I don't need to get both feet as far into the corner. And after I hit, it's a little smoother and cleaner moving back to the tee. So it's a little bit more efficient with the movement, but less power. And, technically, if your posture is right when you approach the ball on an open stance, it should be easier to keep the ball straight because you're going to be more square to the sidewall at contact. So I hope that makes sense. They both are a little tricky in their own rights, but they're both important to be able to do in squash. And hopefully when you get back onto the squash court, these tips will give you something to think about when you get back in there and do some solo hitting and working on those drives.